was the summer before my senior year of college, and I was making it a summer of yeses. I knew after I graduated and started my career, life was never going to be the same. So I made it a mission to say yes to things I normally wouldn't. My friends were all about exploring. They loved traveling, exploring abandoned places, camping, hiking, anything that gave them a thrill. I was the direct opposite. I enjoyed staying indoors, curling up with a good book, or binge watching a TV series in my spare time. I even took up knitting, making my friends decide to nickname me Grandma or Gran. This particular weekend, they had decided on taking a trip to the lake and renting a cabin for 4 days. "It's in the middle of nowhere, Gran. Come on," Nikki said. "I thought you were going to say yes to anything this summer. This is a perfect start," she pleaded. "Fine, but I'm not going on the boat," I said. We were due to leave Thursday afternoon and get to the cabin by 7 p.m. If no one wanted to make unnecessary stops on the way, that is. So we loaded up the van Nikki rented and headed to this secluded cabin she insisted on renting. Looking back now, I should have faked the flu. The cabin was pretty standard. It was clean and had ample space. There was a fireplace and even a bar area for entertaining. It was still light out when we arrived, so you could see the 2 docks and few boats tied up to them. There was a fire pit outside, and Nikki was right. It was secluded. We took a dirt path to get to it. I don't even know how she found out about the place. It must have been an internet ad. We piled in and found our rooms. Mine was a beautiful corner room with its own bathroom. Everyone knew I was a private person and did my best when I had my own space. Nikki's room was right across the hall. She was always close by. "Okay, don't get mad at me," Nikki said, sitting down beside me on my bed. "Oh, great. What?" "Well, the reason I chose this place is because of its super cool history." "Nikki, when you say super cool history, you always mean someone died. Please tell me no one died in this house," I said. "Nope, the house is great. No one died here, I promise," she said. I let out a relieved sigh. "But a young woman did drown in the lake," she said, moving out of the way so I couldn't smack her. "Nikki, you know I don't like creepy things like that." "I know, that's why I waited until we got here to tell you. Love you, bye," she said, running out of my room. I whispered a prayer and followed her to the dining room. We had grabbed a bunch of food from the Italian restaurant in town on our way through to heat up. "I take it Nikki filled you in?" Allison asked. "Oh, so everyone knew? Great," I said. "Well, look at it this way. You wanted adventure this summer," Denise chimed in. Once we were done eating, we grabbed a bottle of wine and headed to the fire pit in the backyard, where Jim had started a fire for us. "I brought stuff for s'mores. Your favorite." Nikki handed me a roasting stick and bag of marshmallows as a peace offering. "You're lucky I love you," I said. The rest of the night, we just ate s'mores and had a glass of wine, or a few, before turning in for the night. The following morning, I grabbed whatever book I'd been reading and headed out the door with a cup of coffee. My morning coffee time was always my favorite. It was the one time I could relax and reflect. I was taking 18 credits, so I was constantly in class or reading and taking notes. I instantly got chills looking out towards the lake. My mind wandered. I wonder where she went down, and how. Was she out in one of those boats? Or was she swimming and lost control somehow? Was it something more sinister, like someone pushing her down into the lake? I shook it off. Enough, I thought. I'm here now, I have to make the most of it. Later that day, everyone was out fishing in the boats, and I was sitting on the dock with my own fishing pole. This isn't so bad, I thought. Fishing is relaxing. But about 10 minutes later, after everyone took off, I heard rustling in the trees off to the side of me. I cautiously looked over my right shoulder. not sure what I was expecting to see. There wasn't anything in sight. Don't freak yourself out, Laney. There's nothing here. It was probably a squirrel or a rabbit, I told myself. But about 2 minutes later, I heard a woman's voice whispering, "Help me." I jumped up and almost lost my balance, the fishing pole hitting the dock. "Where are you? How can I help you?" I yelled out. But there was no response. I was so terrified I couldn't even move from the dock. My feet were literally frozen in place. I had always heard people say that expression, and always said, "Yeah, right, you would go running." But no, it felt like a ton of bricks on top of my feet holding me in place. "Hello? Where are you? I can help you if you show yourself. You're safe here," I said, hoping someone came into sight. But nothing. I started walking back to the house. I couldn't swim, so I didn't feel comfortable just standing around on the dock, just in case there were people out here. As I reached land, I heard an ear-piercing scream. I turned around, losing my footing and stumbling forward to the ground. I looked back towards the lake, where the scream was coming from, and there, about 50 feet ahead of me, was a woman gasping for air and holding her arms out for help. "I can't swim. Hang on. I'm calling someone who can," I yelled frantically. But as soon as I grabbed my phone and started to unlock it, she was gone. "Oh my God, she's gone under," I thought to myself. I was yelling for my friends who had to be somewhere close enough to hear me, but if they did, they weren't moving fast enough. I called Nikki, telling her someone had fallen in and was drowning. She said they were on their way back as soon as she heard my first scream. Once they got into sight, Nikki and Allison dove into the lake, frantically swimming towards my direction, as I pointed them in the area she went under. "She's been down there 2 minutes. Time's running out. Hurry," I said. But they searched for 5 minutes. Everyone was in the water looking for her when finally Nikki said, "Laney, if someone was down there, we would have found her. There's no one, and no sign of anyone." "And there's no boat or anything," Allison said, looking around. "Where would she have fallen from if there's no boat, Laney?" The girls made their way to me where I sat shaking on the ground. I was 100% certain I saw someone, or something. I've never forgotten about that experience, and I never will. It's a story that I don't tell often because I fear people will think I'm crazy. I 100% believe I saw the spirit of the young lady who drowned years prior. Turns out she was having an argument with her boyfriend and fell overboard. She couldn't swim and her boyfriend just panicked and left her there, not wanting to get in trouble. He claims he tried going in after her, but no one believes him. He's in prison now, serving a life sentence. Wow, I knew I had to share your story, Laney. I know it's a longer one, but it's chilling, and I think the community will love hearing it. Thanks for trusting us with it. Have you experienced a lake haunting yourself? Send your story to the email in the description below. Drop a comment and hit the like if you've made it this far. And with that, see you tomorrow, friends.